Hello. Okay, so here we go. This is a video on how to root black Tartarian cherry cuttings or cyan pieces. As you can see, some are thicker and I've been letting them sit for about 10 to 15 minutes in willow water. The willow water has been teeing itself for about a couple of weeks. They only say 24 to 48 hours, but I go a little bit longer to get a higher condensity, concentrate, if you will. So it's been sitting in there. So while that's happening, we're going to take a 1 gallon clean container that I've rinsed out ahead of time, and we're going to show you how to go about this. So we're going to put the container into a thing down here, into a pot, just so nothing gets dirty. And we're going to take sphagnum peat moss and put it in there. We're going to fill that up to, as you can see, it's falling right out. So actually the only way that I can do this successfully. Okay, there we go. Okay. I want to do about half of it in sphagnum peat moss, right about there, if you can see that. So we're going to do half sphagnum peat moss, then we're going to use vermiculite. This holds in essential moisture so that it can retain some of the water without all of it passing through the sphagnum peat moss, which you can get at any local gardening center and or hardware store, like I did at Ace Hardware in my local town. So we're going to add, now not as much of this, because this can go a long way, so as you can see, about that much. And we're going to thoroughly mix that in there. So as we're mixing, we're wanting to make sure that that vermiculite is going all the way through, because that's going to help with drainage. Now, unfortunately, I don't have brand new perlite, which is the white drainage stuff that you'll see right here in this green container. But this plant didn't make it. So we're just going to take this, put it into here. Yeah, because I need the perlite in there for drainage. So that's what we do. And then we mix that in. We don't want that to stay on the top. We want that to go all the way to the bottom, as far as it can go here. Okay. And again, I'm just using my hands and I'm mixing it, as you can see. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So we have sphagnum peat moss, we have vermiculite, and we have perlite with some old sphagnum peat moss. Yeah. Again, you can reuse it as long as there's no disease. Be careful that you don't have any disease within your pot, planting pots. And what I do is I'll fill it up to about there. Okay? And if you have like aphids, especially red spider aphids or just the normal ones, and they're getting out of hand, I mix a couple teaspoons of water per, again, you can get this at any miscellaneous store. It's a sprayer bottle. So 3 tablespoons or whatever you prefer with water, baking soda. Shake it up and it sprays just fine. And again, this just keeps those aphids down. It acts as mostly a deterrent more than anything. It makes them say, ooh, I don't like this. Okay, now this is what your mix should look like. You should see some perlite in there. Now, however, I do a trick. When it comes to rooting, especially your hardwood stuffs, and anything for that matter that is softwood, especially softwood, what I've been learning is you don't want to do anything that decays, like bark or wood, because wood will take the nitrogen away and bark will give it, and they'll compete against each other. It's called it's basically like a war within the pot. And then if you put your cuttings in there, what happens is something a lot like this. It starts to break down. That's why we have this special mixture, so it doesn't break down, so we can retain the water, keep it going. But I do add a little bit of this stuff right here. It's a potting mix. I prefer the black gold. I put about a handful. And it has the perlite in there, so that's helpful. And it has sphagnum peat moss, but it has those worm castings. Maybe I'll go ahead and put another handful. Again. Because this will sink down to about here. Okay, but that is okay, because if you see where our levels are at, it's okay if it sinks down about an inch. And go ahead, mix that in there with your other stuff. And actually what you can do, just take it all out of the container completely, like so. Mix it in the bigger pot, so this way everything's thoroughly mixed. That's the heater. I'm in my day greenhouse, I guess you could say. It's not a real greenhouse, it's just a room that I use in the house for a greenhouse. Okay, should look a lot like that. Once you have that, go ahead, refill it. Yeah, you're just going to want to refill as much as you can. This is a perfect mixture. So it's almost like thirds, or you can do fourths if you wish. You can also use coarse sand. Coarse sand with a little perlite, and I think vermiculite, they say. Haven't done that one though. I've done this, and actually to show you what the byproduct looks like, you got this, which holds a lot of water because of that vermiculite and sphagnum peat moss. But sphagnum peat moss, you have to be careful because they can dry out. So that's why I put the vermiculite in to retain the water. And what I'll do, because it's on a constant heat, you're going to want it on a constant heat. So I have it on a heating pad and a heating blanket, which is always on, or it's a 12 cycle or 6 cycle, which means 6 hours on, 6 hours off. Sorry for speaking so fast. It's all moist though. Because hardwood cuttings you don't need to keep contained, but you do need to have moist, and the soil needs to be moist, not wet. It's heavy, and you can see some of the buds are starting to break. That's what you want right there. That's ideal. It'll take a couple of months, but these right here are apples. I have some roses in here, and I got these, which I just got. These are pears. And again, that same mixture, and the bottom is warm, but the top not so much. Because what you're doing is you're activating those cells within these cuttings. And they're saying, okay, I want to grow. So they start to grow. And what you're doing is you're trying to retain some water, but not make it wet. So basically they have to push for fruits. That's the whole idea. Act as though it's a plant that has roots already. And once it's moist, put it right back on the pad. I'd like to keep it between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that would be Celsius. I'm sorry for all of you who use Celsius. I'm very sorry. I don't know the rates. Before I take those cuttings out of the willow juice mix up there that I've been brewing, I'm going to go ahead and take this in the pot, and inside the pot I have the smaller pot full of it right to the brim, and I'm going to water it completely down. Now a lot of people are asking, why are you doing that? Because I've learned that if you water it completely, and you see, you'll know if you have good soil or not depending on how fast it drains. It should pack in and drain relatively fast. This is what you want.